Good evening, all. We from SREC Alumni Association welcome you for the 59th week of the online activity today. Today, the first, we have book review by Mr. Shamir of 2005 batch, then webinar talk by Dr. Rijo Jackson Tom of 2009 batch, facilitated by the Department of Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering, then followed by fun activities by Mrs. Padmashri of 2006 batch. Now I welcome Mr. Shamir for the book review.
Good evening, SREC AA, our respected patron and principal, Dr. Alamelu, Mr.Vasanth, Mr. Thomas, Queen Padma, faculty members, my dear friends. Today we have a lot of business books on entrepreneurship, business, on networking, and many topics that related to business. And most of the business books available in marketplace are too technical. So I was looking for a very easy and light reading, something, a book that I could read in say like 5 or 6 hours and apply immediately to measure what the outcome is, what the results are. So luckily I found this book here. This book is 48-Hour Startup by Fraser Doherty MBA. It's 48-Hour Startup by Doherty Fraser. So this book is available on Amazon, and the price is less than 250, or probably you can check Amazon. I'm not sure of how much of the price that I purchased for it sometime. And as the book says, 48 hours startup. So can you build a startup for 48 hours? Which is a challenge thrown to this author, and he says that any startup can be built in 48 hours, right? So what is that the book deals about? Let's have a quick view. So this book has this book is divided into a number of weeks, should I say, rather than chapters. The author has divided this book into a number of weeks. So first weeks, he gives us a different set of experiments, different set of exercises, right, to launch the business. So I'll just read out some of the core ideas of this book. So I'm just reading some of the topics, the content which you need to read the book in order to get an elaborate idea of it. So the first week starts with an idea. So any business starts with an idea, and for that the author, for that matter, tells us to come out with a problem statement, define the problem, find out what the problem is, determine the root cause of the problem, and come up with an idea. And then he talks about the actual product. So once you have an idea, you may also have a product or a service in mind. So he talks about the product. And the the third chapter is kind of a motivation for us. A journey of 1,000 miles. So entrepreneurship is basically a journey of 1,000 miles, and the author is absolutely right when he says that it's a journey of 1,000 miles. And the third chapter, as such, is a motivational part for you. But the core of this book starts with the fourth chapter, the product. So once if you have identified your product or a service, you need to go ahead. The fifth chapter deals with creating your product as a brand. So he talks about branding, what exactly branding is, what are the different facets of branding, what are the elements of branding, and how you can brandify your product. The sixth chapter deals with starting your own website, which he says is very, very important in the digital age. Any business that is without an app or a platform today is going to suffer considerably in the digital space. So he talks about the importance of starting a website as well. And this idea, he says, he has reiterated in different parts of the book, that website should be on the top of your mind right from the day when you start a business. And that is my advice as well for you if you are looking to start a business. And the seventh chapter deals with finding your first customer, right? Who your first customers and how you can induct your first customer, take the first customer on board to buy your product or service. And he derives different strategies, different tactics, marketing, operational tactics to find the first customer and bring him on board. So the eighth customer talks about the future of business, how you should plan your business, how the aspiration of a millionaire or probably a billionaire should be, starting from day one, and where the road to entrepreneurship is. Determining your future goals, working on it, sharpening your skills, sharpening your visions, your future, your goals, etc. And the ninth chapter is quite significant. If you feel that 8 chapters is quite enough for you, it's fine. But do read this 9th chapter, because he reads with business resources, links, tools, where places to go, and books to read. So I found the 9th chapter basically very interesting, because once I finished all the 8 chapters, when I had a look into the 9th chapter, I found other business books to buy, right? So he doesn't finish his off with his book, and he recommends us different business books from different authors to would fuel your entrepreneurial passion. So it's a very cool book. This book is a very cool book, and it has about 208 pages, right, including the 9th chapter. So please do, Ruth, take some time to purchase this book, read this. It's 48-hour startup from Fraser Doherty MBA. Very interestingly, he has interestingly positioned his idea as 48-hour startup. So it's a very interesting read. So until then, it's bye from Shamir. Next week we'll come up with another different book, a very different author on lateral thinking. Thank you, SREC AA.
Thank you, Shamir. We, on behalf of the SREC Alumni Association and the Department of Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering, welcome you for the 59th webinar talk, Role of Programming Language in Engineering. We welcome our principal ma'am, speaker of the day, Dr. Rijo Jackson Tom, faculty members, current students, and all our alumni friends. Dr. Rijo Jackson, after his Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering, he completed his master's in Applied Electronics. He has then completed his doctorate in Computer Science. He has offered his industry consultancy to companies like Cinta Jacobi, Eureka Textiles, Texma Industries. In his employment, he has worked with 2 industry sector and 7 academic sector. Currently, he is Senior Engineer Innovations at Augusta High-Tech Software Solutions, Coimbatore. He has made few publications and filed few patents. In short, he is a multidisciplinary in education and work profile. Knowledge in computer vision, machine learning, and statistical modeling applied to real-time applications. Over to you, Rijo.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. A warm good evening to all, especially good evening, Principal Ma'am, and other faculties, HODs, and students of SREC. And I hope alumni members are also there. Okay, and so what I thought was, though the topic was given like, okay, programming, one of programming languages in engineering, I thought what I will do is I'll just go through my own life and how programming came as a part of my life and how it's going to influence each one of you. Maybe this talk which I'll be giving, it may not be totally technical. Maybe it can be motivational also for some of you who are coming up in life and things like that. So some of you have settled in life, or this can correlate with anyone. So let's see how the talk goes. Each one can take their own perspectives, but I hope it should be a good evening today. I'll just share my slide. Okay, is the slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so though the title was given like role of programming languages in engineering, so we know that nowadays in our life that we live today, and the technology that is moving on, it is not just programming languages getting into, it's not just engineering, but we know that it's entering into medicine, it's entering into maths, finance, mathematics, whatnot. Take anything that today we are living in a world of a technology where we cannot live without it. So most of us would have experienced that. Okay, and many of you will be working with big software companies and things like that. Okay, so let's see how it depends upon each one's perspective of where we live or what things we do to choose something or some kind of programming language in our life. Okay. So before moving into these things, I thought, okay, I'll tell a story and let's take something from that. Okay, so there were two guys. One person's name was John, the other person's name was Tony. Okay, so Tony joined. He was a lumberjack. Okay, so where they cut woods, and he was working in with that one particular firm for around 5 years. And whereas John joined 2 years before. Okay, and both are working. And at the end of the day, what happened? At 1 year they worked, and the end result was that John, who joined very recently, got a very good increment, and because of his performance by cutting a lot of wood. Okay, whereas Tony, who was working for more than 5 to 6 years, was not able to perform or to get a good amount of salary. Now, what happened? Tony was obviously angry with his manager as well as with his friend, and he went and argued with his manager. Why am I not paid more? Because according to seniority, I should get paid more. See, I'm working here for 5 years, and now John, he worked for only 2 years, and now he gets a better payment. And what was the reason? And now the manager takes Tony to John. Okay, and tells him that, see, John has been here only for 2 years, but he is more productive than you. He is able to do more work than you, and he is doing it very perfectly. Okay, and now Tony asks John, okay, what is the reason that you're able to do better work than me? Okay, and John's simple answer was, I sharpen my axe every time. Okay, and before I work, I sharpen my axe and I do my work. And the manager asks now to Tony, when was the last time that you sharpened your axe? Okay, and Tony said that the time when I joined the job. Okay, so that was the last time when he sharpened the axe. So now let's correlate this thing to our own life. Okay, when was the last time that we sharpened our axe? So considering the job that we do or the place we are, if someone is able to get more better productivity than us, or someone is able to get better salary, or in college someone is able to get better marks, okay, someone is performing better than others. So let's evaluate for ourselves. When was the last time that we sharpened our axe? Okay, so this is some question that we can ask today, and we can evaluate ourselves with our day-to-day life. So I take a quote from Abraham Lincoln. If I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. So by this talk, even I just wish that each one of you who are listening to this will take this particular point into a life, that when was the last time I sharpened my axe? All things that is required, or learning a new thing, okay, which comes up in life. So that is what we take up for today. Okay, now let's go on to today's talk. As we go on, what I will do is that I will tell you guys, because it's SREC alumni, I will tell from how my journey started from SREC until what I am right now, and how programming languages are also getting involved, and all those things I'll take it as a story line. Okay, so my journey of my life started from 2005. I'm starting, okay, till 2009. I was in the department of E&I. At that time, HOD was Dr. Venkasamy sir. My guide was Dr. K. Srinivasan. And Shamla ma'am was there, Rukmani ma'am, Devasena ma'am. Then I remember Bharani sir from CSC. There are many more faculties who are, Jagadishwari ma'am from, then Natarajan sir from EC. So there are many people in my life whom I can remember in after 15 years of my studies who had influence in my life, and still I'm in contact with SREs. Okay, so this specific talk is focused with SREs alumni, so that's why I'll tell you. And some of the few things, even for students, I know that there are students who are attending this talk. It was a library of SREC, which I spent most of my time, and I loved and I enjoyed going there. And two things, it's always about whenever you start learning something, you learn from fundamentals, and it always comes from reading books. Okay, maybe ebooks also nowadays, but I was very much happy when that sharing of this book was being done. So in my bachelor's life, these two books, especially the Digital Fundamentals by Floyd and Measurement Systems by Doblin, these two books influenced me a lot. I studied the basics or understood the basics from these textbooks a lot. Okay, I can remember from the locations of the library from where it was. Okay, and that's how the journey started. And then after my bachelor's, I was working with school students for 1 year. And then later on, I was an instrumentation engineer in Bindal Paper Limited, Uttar Pradesh. For 1 year, I was an instrumentation engineer. So there I came across what is called as a programmable logic controllers, PLCs, DCS, distributed control systems, and those things came into picture. But at the same time, I wrote a lot of government exams like ISRO, ONGC, SAIL, GAIL, okay, and finally only to fail. Okay, so I did not clear any of these exams. And then later on, I went to do my master's in applied electronics. So this is from my bachelor's. There was one programming language which was very much influencing, which was called as MATLAB programming language. So MATLAB is a very good tool for engineers, okay, to learn it. It's very simple to learn, and we can do a lot of mathematical models, simulation models is possible. So any domain you take, you have a process in that. So this is a proprietary software, whereas people who wish to work similar kind of MATLAB things can work with Octave also. See, and one more thing I'll let you know that all those things that I talk here are not generalized things. It depends upon person to person. I'll just tell a few of the languages which may be helpful for you people also to start learning and things like that, and some of the developments that happens. Okay, so MATLAB is one programming language which I will suggest you people to learn. And then the journey continues. From there, I went to work as an assistant professor with the VC. During this time, there were two wonderful things that came into my hands, or the world was evolving with such kind of things. One is the Arduino microcontroller and the Raspberry Pi processor. Okay, so these two things changed the world or the perspective in which microcontroller programming can be done. Okay, so even any person now can now take a microcontroller board and start programming and create any prototype model. Okay, so initially it was not the case. So even when we studied instrumentation during those times, creating a say microcontroller coding using embedded C or even using the assembly level code was tedious task. But when such kind of board was evolved and started to evolve, the Arduino IDE became so simple that using simple C programming structure, you will be able to write wonderful codes and do a lot of prototype models using microcontrollers. Okay, and next one was the Raspberry Pi. So Raspberry Pi is a microprocessor, it's a mini computer. Now, most of you would have come across this, so some might have not come across, but you people can try it because it is learned from scratch. So anyone without any basics of any programming language or any knowledge of anything can simply start with these things. So it will give you a knowledge that even with computer science people who do not love electronics. So there was a big gap when we studied that electronics people or the hardware people will not so much be liking into software. Whereas at the same time, the computer science people will not much like electronics, or microprocessor was not a great thing for them. Electronics was set aside for only for electronics people, and it was like something like that. But the world was evolving in such a manner that we cannot live separately. Now there is a need for culmination. So that was happening in the world, and that is what has happened. Okay, and you people can try Raspberry Pi, where you can write a simple Java code. It's computer itself, so which has a Python IDE. You can write and learn Python programming language from scratch itself, and you can come up with a lot of real-time projects and consultancies. Okay, and that is where Vasanth mentioned that I did a consultancy for Texmo Industries, for Simta Jacobi, and those things. It was using Arduino and Raspberry Pi. So from here, I started to learn certain kind of different kind of programming language. There is Python programming language, which started in my life, and this is the simple programming language which people can start learning, and it's more powerful nowadays. Okay, so we will see how things went on, and that was not how the life's journey continued. Then I started to write banking exams. Okay, I started to write staff selection commissions. I applied for civil service examinations. And still, that was again another try in my life, and that path went over. And then life had to continue. So I'll tell one more thing, that each one has their own battles to fight, and insecurities to face. Okay, and if you understand each other, the world would be a better place. So I thought, okay, I'll bring in a little bit of philosophy also into the life's game that we all go through. Because even while we are doing all these things, each one is going through different difficulties. And students also will be facing a lot of difficulties in their life. Okay, and only thing I can tell is that do not give up and keep moving. Okay, you have your own battles to fight forward, but only thing is to keep moving. Okay, so that was the next phase. So next phase was from 2016 to 19. So now I went on to do a PhD in computer science. Okay, so suddenly people will be thinking, okay, so this guy who was an instrumentation engineer now suddenly jumps to an applied electronics where I was working with wireless communication and now to a computer science engineering field. But the PhD which I did was on smart grid and energy management. Okay, now this is where the total difference lies in the picture. This in from 2016, I had to do work on networking, simulations, then Internet of Things. So it was a time when IoT and edge computing was evolving in the world. So I had to learn these new things where I already had knowledge, word knowledge on electronics instrumentation engineering, which was giving me a lot of help for sensors and transducers. And wireless communication was also possible. Now is the time where data analytics comes into picture. So now when this thing comes into picture, you're forced or you need to learn new languages so as to extract a lot of information out of the data that is being generated. So now what you have networking, you have simulations, you have MATLAB, you have Python programming language. All these things had to put together to form some kind of system. So now the world, as you know, is evolving. Okay. So this is what I will tell you, which I learned from my life is try to learn something about everything. Okay. And try to learn everything about something. So this has always driven me in my life. So I think this particular quote will also be kept in mind. So I'll try to learn something about everything and everything about something. Okay, so this is the way machine learning started to evolve from those years. Nowadays, you know, the most evolving technologies in this world is machine learning and AI. And you know that the big giants are all fighting for this AI and machine learning based systems. And you know, the most of them will be working as machine learning engineers or AI engineers in software field. And this is the most and data scientists and data science. And these are the most emerging fields. And we know that even the education system is or bringing into disruptive technologies so that people should study such things like machine learning, Internet of Things, and such and such things, because nothing, no subject can go without this. There's the state of today. Okay, so some of the languages that we should know is if you are good with, or you can start learning Python programming language. And with that, you require a lot of packages to be learned. That is TensorFlow, Keras, Scikit-learn, Pandas, NumPy, which all comes as a Python-based package. Okay, so this has helped me, or this has helped me in developing machine learning models, predictive analytic models, and the new emerging models of machine learning is something called as a explainable machine learning. So those who are working with machine learning models can also look into what is called as explainable machine learning models, because it is not enough nowadays that you train a model or create a machine learning output, okay, and just tell that my model produced such and such outputs. Now you should be able to tell why my machine learning algorithm gave such an output. Okay, that is called explaining the model. So you know that whenever you have a neural network or whenever you create a machine learning model, it's kind of black box. You do not know why my model gave this output. Say, for example, you're predicting a cancer patient or not. So why did my machine learning algorithm tell that one of the patient's data has a cancerous tissue or a cancer output? So now the machine learning model that you should do should be explained, okay, these are the parameters which made me to take a decision that this person can have cancer or not. Okay, so this is also a very much emerging world. Okay, the next few years or the machine learning model world will be looking into explainability part also as an important factor. Then, you know, natural language processing, all your Siris and what is Siri, then Amazon Alexa, then your Google, all those things have this natural language processing as an important task to be done. So your predictive text messages, all those things works with natural language processing. So those are beginning or want to start their careers and new, okay, want to learn new things, can look into these kinds of things. Okay, for the next few years, these are going to be really dominant in the world. Okay, and you can have a lot of job opportunities with this particular regard, and there's a lot of need for people who knows such things. Okay, so that was from the 2010-11. Okay, and why we should go for this? So you know that the industry is also evolving. Okay, so what is the need for programming languages? Is this initially industry was using certain logical designs. Then we have mass production, the industrial revolution 2.0. Then what we actually live in now is industry 3.0 itself, because 99% of the plants are automated. So you know computers are being used. So even when I was working in a power plant, it's DCL, distributed control systems. You have computers controlling everything. Automation is there. A car is being manufactured by itself. Robots are controlling everything. So this is for the past few decades, the industry is with Industry 3.0, and this is what we are doing. So electronics boom was there. Lot of hardware came, lot of computer-based softwares for hardwares came, and industry was running with this. Now is the term for Industry 4.0, where hardware, okay, comes along with a combination of software, and Internet of Things is going to be the most dominant part in that. Okay, so it's called the cyber physical systems, where you cannot have a system without computers. So if you look at the diagrams, you will understand now the concept of data comes into picture. A lot of data is available today. Now, what can we do with the data? Okay, so we need to look into certain patterns in the data. So you have wireless communication being done. Can you control it automatically, or can you predict something that is going to happen in future? Okay, so before preventive maintenance, is it possible, or can we have some perspective decision makings to be done so that we have a systematic control of the plant? Okay, so this is what we are trying to implement, or most of the companies are now moving into Industry 4.0. The Industrial Internet Consortium is also pushing forward to bring in industrial internet standards into industry. So most of the plants are not yet fully internet connected. Okay, they don't move completely into the cloud storage and things like that. So we have a lot of things to do with big data analytics, okay, in the industry itself. So that is one emerging field of today with the prime focus of Industry 5.0. So that's not the end. We might think that, okay, Industry 4.0 might be then because we have brought in the IoT and big data analytics into picture. But we have a vision of Industry 5.0 now itself, where for the machines will be thinking in a cognitive manner, that there'll be more control over the productions. Okay, so the distributions and the mass productions will be looking into the population into picture. So a lot of things will be still more evolving based upon Industry 5.0. Okay, so this was about why I'm telling all these things. How is the industry also getting connected with the IT norms? So in the Internet of Things was a technology which brought in the culmination of IT versus OT. Okay, so what was not there with the OT? So if we can bring in the IT perspective into the OT, we can have the strengths of both put together to develop much more better and effective systems. And it is now more possible with the invention or the bringing up of 5G technology. But 5G technology is still being talked about. Now 5G is being implemented in many people, but research is one step ahead always. Okay, so we cannot stop with 5G. So the world will be moving on to what is called as 6G also. So where by the time we have 5G in our country, the world will be trying to implement 6G in many of the pilot cities at least. So where you can have energy harvesting, where you can charge your mobile by even 5G, they talk about charging your mobiles on the go. Okay, so such kind of things will be coming, and you have now itself you have how to say unmanned cars and such things. So a lot of Internet of Vehicles will be coming into picture. Then agriculture, then the humans involving more with the machineries will be coming up in the near future. So even your wireless technologies or the communication technology requires software now, especially like something like software defined networking is an important area which people can look into. Okay, so those who are interested in networking can look into software defined networking, okay, which is going to be the backbone for 5G and 6G networks. Then you know that AI and machine learning is a very important aspect which the world is looking into. So Python programming with a lot of packages, not just a Python, even machine learning can be done with other programming languages also. But these are something which people can start learning from scratch. Okay, but doesn't mean that I'm not talking about other programming languages also. It's all programming languages is involved in the development of all these systems as such. I'm just telling you how 6G is going to bring in a new spectrum, okay, of energy efficiency and faster data transmission and connectivity with a lot of artificial intelligence that is going to come. So some of the essential technologies that are going to rule the next few decades are these: IoT, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, especially, nowadays, a lot of blockchain-based networks is coming up. It's not just Bitcoins or other cryptocurrencies, but the concept of blockchain itself is being used into food industries. Okay, so Kotlin and with blockchain technologies like for Hyperledger technologies, if you start learning, you can start now implementing for these things for different applications. It's not just cryptocurrency. So try to understand. So those are new to these things can try to understand what is the blockchain technology and can use this for different applications. Okay. For currency exchanges, then medical healthcare systems, then documents. For such authentication purposes, blockchains can be applied. Then 3D printing. So that is also being developed nowadays. Drones and robots especially. So all these things put together requires a lot of things that we need. We need to learn programming languages based upon the different applications that we need. So with these things, what all I came across is that for a research and industry, be it be anyone, it's always good to learn, have some knowledge on Python or SPSS by IBM and Excel. If you know Excel itself, there's a lot of things that can be done. And for calculations, MATLAB and Octave, if you know, you can do a lot of scientific calculations. If so, it is not that anyone doing any subject need not have a programming language knowledge. But nowadays, it is a very good means that everyone has mixed knowledge of these things also. And if we have knowledge on Python or itself, a lot of scientific calculations and statistical analysis can be done. For computer science engineers, I tell you that so it is a vast ocean there itself, and there are a lot of programming languages. Each one can become an expert in different languages. But if you know the structure of one programming language, it's easy to shift to other programming languages also. But as students, or if there are a lot of freshers who are just starting their careers, kindly have some knowledge on Python programming, R programming language, if possible. So there are a lot of scope opportunities that is coming up. Okay, and which is available right now. Okay, so you have these things, and especially have some knowledge on object-oriented programming, because some things which I lacked in my life in a career which I built up. Okay, so it took a lot of years for me to build these things up. So if you're able to build these things from the scratch, from the college level, it is going to be a very good opportunity for you people. Okay, so what I have always learned in my life, it doesn't matter how many times you fall. What counts is how many times you stand up again and move again. So some of you who will be just struggling to get a job, or who has not got place, so never lose heart, or because we all survived those recession period from 2008, 2009 recession was there. Everyone went through the struggle. We had come up, or everyone is coming up in their life and growing each time. Okay, so never lose heart and keep moving. And one quote which always led me through or to accomplish all the tasks was, start by doing what is necessary, then do what is possible, and then suddenly you are doing the impossible. Okay, so this thing has helped me. So read a lot of books. Okay, so motivate yourself, keep yourself motivated. Okay, and so with this, I end my session. You can have a happy learning. Okay. Yeah, thank you. So if you have any questions, you can ask.
Good evening, Rijo. Am
Yes,
I
ma'am.
audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Myself, Dr. Senthamil, heading a department of IT. We offer two programs. One is IT, another one is AIDS, Artificial Intelligence and Data Science.
Wonderful. Yes, ma'am.
And your presentation was really helpful for the young engineers who have recently joined. And as you said about the Python and MATLAB, we have included in the first year itself.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And earlier there was a distinguish between hardware and software. Right
Yes,
now, all the computer science students are studying IoT, embedded system and IoT. And similarly, the ACE and circuit branches, EEE and E&I, they are studying Python, object-oriented programming with Python, MATLABs, and other programming languages also. And CDPD also giving programming training for the students. I think we are in the right direction, as you said, and our students also participating in various hackathons and project contests. Just for your information, alumni like you people are giving lot of inputs in different academic committees, what is required in the near future. So we have incorporated all these corrections or updations or gaps in our curriculum, and we are performing well. Thank you, Rijo. Thank you very much for your wonderful speech and the way you have explained your journey. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And thanks to Srinivasan sir and Rukmini, they used to always call me whenever they wanted this. They used to take inputs a lot in framing the syllabus and all those things.
Very good. Thank you.
I think yes, I'm also happy that to be a part with SREC, and SREC is actually doing a very good part in that. I have also seen the journey in the past years how SREC also has evolved. I'm actually happy for them.
Thank you. Thank you, Rijo.
Rijo?
Yes. Yes.
This is Ram Sundar. Hope you remember.
Hello, Ram. Hi.
We were batchmate.
Yeah, tell me now.
It was a very good session. Thanks for very informative, and it was a very good session.
Yeah. So you're with SREC right now, right?
Yeah. I'm working in a IT department.
IT department. Okay.
Yes. Thanks, Rijo. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. I think one of my classmates was also there.
I think Kasi is also working in EC department. Yeah.
Okay. Naveen is there?
No, Naveen is not working. Naveen.
No. Naveen Chandrasekhar has joined the talk actually. I saw Naveen.
Yeah, Rijo, I'm here. Just listening to you. Yeah.
Hi, Naveen.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. And no, so okay, Naveen is my classmate. No, he was with SREC, and we both belong to the same batch.
Yeah. How are you guys? I mean, Srinivasan sir and Kaushik is my friend too. I mean, Kaushik was my schoolmate, and we grew up together. He's a professor there now. So yeah, I was listening to Rijo. Rijo is my very good friend. So yeah, it was inspiring, and really, yeah, I use these technologies day to day, and I hope students will take some time to at least look at it and get to know it. It's really useful. And there are a lot of things they can learn and that they can apply to any part of their life. I mean, like a developer mentality can help in a lot of things. So hopefully they can, get something out of it.
Yeah, only thing is that the amount of years that we took to learn these things, we can learn from our own experience that you can learn things faster and quicker and go ahead, not to lose a lot of years in your life.
Yeah, trust me. I mean, for me, I mean, Rijo knows me. I mean, I'm not that into that studious, or I mean, I don't spend that much time studying at the time when I was actually studying. Now, I regret that I don't have that much time to study and learn things that I want to know. So, I mean, when life happens, you won't have that much time to learn, grow up. So when you have time, utilize it wisely. So that's what I'm saying. Thanks.
Thank you.
Rijo, thank you, Rijo.
We'll meet up sometime.
Thank you, ma'am.
Naveen, thank you, Naveen. Do you remember me?
Thanks, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thomas?
Yes, Rijo. Rijo, I do have one question. Most of the alumnus, when they talk about Excel, learning Excel, and use of Excel in English. But I don't find a provider who actually give a certification program in Excel, or what is the exact need or length to which we have to concentrate on Excel?
See, right now, I'll tell you frankly, I'm a data science, working in data science, and most of the work I do in Excel itself. Okay. So it's not necessary that you request, because actually Excel is a very powerful tool for data science. So if anyone wants to study data science from scratch or do statistical analysis and all those things, it's best for them to start working with Excel, because you take a smaller set of data and you can observe the data with your own eyes. You can do a lot of pivot tables and tables, chart visualizations. Everything is possible with Excel itself. See, what not is possible. So you do not need a very powerful tool like BI or other programming language itself to do visualization algorithm, visualization thing. You need not write a program because you already have the data. You just have to study it. So for studying, I think from the scratch, for the basic thing, Excel is the most important part. And especially for researchers, instead of you can write programs to do statistical data analysis. You better you use an Excel and study the data will help us a lot. And there are a lot of certifications. It's not just certificates. There are a lot of courses available to especially use Excel for data analysis. There are books also which is available with statistics with Excel. Okay, and if you read that, it will be helpful. Then only we'll be able to understand how to analyze the results. So even for the final year projects, it's a good practice to encourage students, whether it's an ECE students or whoever it may be, who they do simulations, ask them to treat their results and data statistically. So experiments or simulations to be run at least 10 or 20 or 30 times and then take a statistical result as an output. So which will prove that your results has been treated statistically. So we can find other patterns also from what we do, okay, using Excel. So I think Excel is a very powerful tool for beginners in data science, and not only in beginners, even it's powerful tool even for a large specific data. Before you apply programs, I think so you can work with the Excel.
Oh, thank you, Rijo.
Students, if they have anything to ask, also can ask. Especially students who want to enter, or if they want any suggestions, or if they have any doubts, can ask.
Rijo, one out-of-box question.
Yeah.
To COVID, is there really layoffs industry scenario, or are they coping with it?
I think so. Most of the industries are working much more. It's not effective majorly because people are working around the clock now. So it's not, even the industry results, and most of the major companies are going to recruit a lot of people because they have a lot of projects coming up. And especially, what happened because of the COVID, the software side or the digital world has actually improved a lot. So more projects based upon because in the future when they have such problems, so even right now, right, because we are using something like a WebEX, which we have never used. I think the SREC also would have never used this thing 1 or 2 years back. Correct. So some companies, but I think digital world is going to improve a lot, and software is going to they're going to recruit a lot for the next 2 years, I suppose.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, that's what I have heard till now. Till now, what I know the news is that there are going to be 35,000 recruitments for Infosys, Wipro, and top companies. Other than that, there are a lot of companies out there other than these things also, which are working really good. Only thing is that I think so we should not lose hope and keep trying and keep updating also.
And student friends, if you have any queries, you can put up to Rijo.
Yeah, because Thomas, our batch had this recession time. 2008-9 was a recession, and almost the whole everyone succeeded. Everyone went through their path and succeeded. And we all, whoever are nice, everyone knows about a tough path we all have taken to reach. So I think so. The freshers also, only thing is they never lose hope. Okay, keep trying. Even if you don't get placed in the first company, keep trying. The next, there's always a company out there somewhere for you to give you a job. Only thing is that keep updating your skills. Don't stop learning.
Yeah, audience, if there are no other questions, Rijo and Vasanth, shall we go for the closing remarks?
Yes, Thomas.
Thank you, Dr. Rijo Jackson Tom, 2009 E&I passed out, for the wonderful speech for this webinar number 59. SREC Alumni Association is proud to host you today. You have made this evening more memorable and useful for most of us. Thank you so much. The message you have given today to update or sharpen our skills then and there to calibrate ourselves is wonderful. Thank you so much, Rijo. Thank you. Thank you, E&I department, Rukmani ma'am, for roping in Rijo Jackson Tom for today's session. Thank you, Rukmani ma'am. Thank you, audience, for joining today. this evening has been most memorable for the Alumni Association. And thank you, Shamir, for the wonderful book review. Week after week, giving book review is very tough, but still you have maintained that strength. Thank you so much. Alumni Association records a sincere thanks to you for making it every week. Thank you so much. First batch alumni is today available. Ms. Veena ma'am, as well as Ram Subramaniam sir is there. Thank you, first batch, for introducing one-time Dr. Mohammad Zakaria Memorial Scholarship for students' benefit. So they have provided the scholarship for one final year student, which covers the entire fees. So they have sponsored that. Similarly, for one third year student, they have sponsored the entire fees, along with another lucky student who have got a fund of 30,000 from them through this one-time Dr. Mohammad Zakaria Memorial Fund. Thank you, first batch, for introducing that. Alumni Association is ever grateful to you. Thank you. Thank you, student friends, for being today here. Thank you so much. Thank you, one and all.